Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we've gathered here to go over the events that took place in the Kremlin yesterday. Yesterday there were two explosions that occurred 15 minutes apart near the Kremlin, video footage verified by the Times showed. This event has set off a flurry of accusations and escalated tensions between Russia and Ukraine, and set the world on edge. We have gathered multiple sources around this event, to see what is happening on both sides of the fence. The Kremlin has accused the Ukrainian government of orchestrating a drone attack on President Vladimir Putin's residence and have stated that the strike was foiled by Russian electronic warfare systems. Ukraine's government has denied any involvement, mentioning that the Kremlin has manufactured the incident to distract attention from a looming counteroffensive. Meanwhile, intelligence agencies are still attempting to gain answers, but Anthony Blinken, Secretary of State, has offered, "I would take anything coming out of the Kremlin with a very large shaker of salt." So what does this all mean? And what evidence does Russia have to support the accusations it's issued? Moving on, the EU had initially thought Sudan was on the verge of a deal and on the path to transiting from a military dictatorship to democracy. And yet, a few weeks later that notion has vanished, with the EU facing questions of its failed diplomacy. Threats have been made that a civil war in Sudan would make the conflicts in Syria, Yemen and Libya look like a small play, and with the strength and involvement of the Wagner Group, Russia mercenaries, it's a threat the EU takes very seriously. Things become even more complicated when we look at Bikini Atoll in relation to the crisis in Sudan. There have been efforts to compensate the residents who have been forced to flee from the nuclear tests. Efforts have also been made by Saudi Arabia and other countries, with nearly 6,000 people evacuated from the area so far, even though evacuations have been halted due to undisclosed reasons. What all of this puts us with is the aftermath of multiple seemingly haphazard events, with little to no answers on what happened with the two explosions near the Kremlin and the halting of evacuations in Bikini Atoll. Yet, the human cost is what's the most important at this point, and efforts should be made for the compensation of those displaced and in danger. We're also going to take this opportunity to highlight a crisis that's already at our doorstep: the ability to reduce toxicity in our households. Paraffin wax, bisphenols A and S, and petroleum have all been seen as potentially harmful chemicals, and that's why we're advising that you consider beeswax or soy wax candles instead of regular candles to avoid eye or respiratory irritation, and that you consider either a glass or metal food container with silicone lid to avoid excess plastic pollutants. Finally, we leave you with some ideas on what to cook in the situation, with Chris Simpson's food ideas for the New York Times, and some arts and ideas for having a less toxic life. Thank you for joining us in today's discussion, and until next time.